Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Absolutely phenomenal guests the world over from all walks of life with very specific, unique life paths. They often have turned around and have started helping others along the way. Today, no exception for the amazingness. We've got Bill O'Haron coming to us from California. He lives two lives in that he's a seasoned 30-year finance expert, whether we're talking investments and other stuff. So he's got a serious profession on one side, but he's also an Lcsw, licensed clinical social worker, or you could just say shrink therapist and so on. He's also author of Waking Up Marriage. And he did go to Middlebury College where I went. We did not go at the same time, but we had overlapping people that we both knew. I can say that I've been fortunate enough to get to know Bill. It's a thrill to be able to interact with him, love him to death. And so I'm excited to have Bill O'Haron on the show. Bill, welcome to Angels, Positivity, and Love.
Way too much sprinkles on that one, but that was beautiful. Thank you. It's great. And the fact that we did both go to Middlebury kind of deepens our bond unconsciously or consciously.
Yeah. And we only met I'm going to say 3-4 years ago when it was
Yeah.
Austin, Texas, really.
Yeah. I can't remember the initial flyby connection we got. I think maybe, I don't know. I might have been selfishly marketing for my book and reaching out and just hitting people. And somehow I found that, I think maybe through LinkedIn, I saw that you were from Middlebury or anyway.
Yeah, I think it was LinkedIn, but okay. Talk to us about life. And you are a student, almost a philosopher in the way you've been approaching, whether it's Indian philosophy or culture, whether it's Native American culture. You pay attention to life, the universe, and whatever it is that Plato talks about. Talk to us about that. How did you find that curiosity about life that goes well beyond any one industry or anything like that? It's about that, what Joseph Campbell talks about.
Thank you. Well, not to be too verbose and long-winded, but as a kid, I was always from in New Jersey. There was always this sense that, yeah, I was, Irish Catholic, whatever, but I'd walk in my backyard and I always felt like, I'm talking like second grade, third grade, fourth grade. I always felt like I wanted to be careful where I was walking because I think there were people that were buried here, like something sacred. And I didn't really understand that. Always had a curiosity, always kind of masked, outwardly gregarious and amiable. And, I was kind of always the goofy little clown, but inside there was always this sensibility. And fast forward to 1996, I'm 32 years old. I'm living in London, living the life of Riley, as we like to say, young, early 30s, money in the bank, but there was something missing. And that sounds so cliche these days. And, my fifth girlfriend breaks up with me and I'm like, something's wrong. And my last girlfriend, actually, she went to Middlebury. She said, you should go see a shrink. You're self-conscious, you're insecure. I'm like, nah, screw you, F you. I'm from New Jersey. I'll figure this out. So I went to see a shrink on the King's Road in London and a tear welled up in my eye. And then I had another friend said, you should meditate. I'm like, screw your meditation. I'm not going to meditate. Well, sure enough, I meditated one night, March 20th, 1996, in my apartment in London. I sat quietly. My neck started to choke. I had all these tears flushing through me. I hadn't cried in 10 years. And I passed out. And when I came to, it was dark. And I'm like, somebody's in the room. I'm like, literally, like the hairs on the back of my neck were standing up. I'm like, somebody's in the room. And I heard, welcome back. And I'm like, they're going to take me away in a straitjacket. I'm just a white dude in freaking London working at Salmon Brothers, and they're going to take me away in a straitjacket. And then I'm sitting there on the floor. I can close my eyes and remember it like it was yesterday, 28 and a half years ago. I'm sitting on the floor, and all I heard was this drumming, doom, 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 and this chanting. I'm like, oh my God. And it was these portly women sitting in a circle chanting. And since that day, I've had one foot in this world and one foot not in this world. And so, I quit my job. I traveled the world. I've been to 48 countries so far. I moved back to the States. I got my girlfriend pregnant. She's now my wife of 27 years. I had a seer, a woman, a a psychic tell me in London, before I even meet this woman, I see you with this woman with long hair with 3 daughters dancing around you. Well, sure enough, I got 3 daughters. I moved back to the US, didn't know what I was going to do. I went back to get a master's in social work, ran a juvenile justice program for 3 years from 03 to 05 in Stanford, got back into finance because I couldn't afford to live in Connecticut and be a full-time shrink or counselor. And so been balancing those two worlds. I have a pretty thriving, very thriving evenings and weekend counseling practice, but during the day, I'm a sales guy. I still cold call. So long-winded answer, I realize that there's so much more behind what we can see and behind our 5 senses. And it's all I've been doing for the last 28 years. I'm talking every self-help book. I meditate every day. I'm a crier. I mean, I've probably cried. I've sat for 11,200 hours over the last 28 years. I'd say probably 20% of the time I've got these wonderful tears pouring through. In fact, when we were chatting before, I was welling up when we were talking Native American stuff. And my job is just to kind of, at this point, I'll be 60 in a couple months. I'm just here to be a conduit of light. I feel like I'm a satellite dish. I want to give out light. I go down to the store and I say nice things to people. I swear to God. I'll go down to get 2 apples and milk for the wife. I'll be like, I love your hat, love your hair, love your nails. I'm just trying to pulsate with, add value, teeny bit of value. That's it.
Beautiful. Hey, I've seen you in action, even in my backyard in San Antonio, Texas, when you came down back in the days when you lived in Austin, Texas, before you moved to California. And you are one wide open dude. I'm going to put it that way. We'll go kind of college-ish with the way this interview is going. But I knew nothing about the London experience, during your days at Solomon Brothers. You mentioned 50-something countries. Did you go to India?
I did.
Tell us about India.
I mean, amazing. We went to Mumbai and then we went down to Trivandrum and Kerala, and I was spellbound by the sheer this meditative, and it's not the right word. There was this sense and this feeling of like, when you see on a hot day on the field, you can see those waves. I felt like the entire country was these waves, beautiful food, amazing looking men and women. We took a local train, one of those wooden trains with like chickens and ducks on there. And I felt like I was home. I went to Africa by myself 26 years ago next week. I went to Malawi and Zambia by myself. And I got off the plane and that sultry, soft, moist air. And I'm like, I'm home. I feel like I'm home. I'm like, how can that be? Like, yeah, amazing stuff. Been to Nepal, been to Machu Picchu. And this was all right when I started meditating. I'm like, I'm going to put everything in storage and I'm going to go see the world. Well, little did I know, I went to Kauai. I went to all these sacred places that just really over the last 2 to 3, 4 years, as I've been getting even deeper into the kind of esoteric or, the return of the ancient thought, precession of the equinoxes and the Atlantean culture and the Lemurian culture and whatever people believe, I don't really care. I realized I went to visit all those sites, not knowing that they were sacred sites. I mean, I live 250 miles from Mount Shasta, which is, supposed to be one of the more sacred vortices in the world. But I was just in awe. The more I traveled, the more I felt at home, and I felt how Homo sapiens sapien, we're all just one big ass tribe, and someday we're gonna stop fighting with each other, and we're gonna celebrate and dance and laugh together, which there's a lot of cultures. We're doing more and more of that, and things are getting better, even though the media, I mean, we're seeing all the chaos, but net, we've turned the corner. And I think Homo sapien, I think we're going to get there. I really do. I'm super, super excited. I'm excited to be human right now.
Okay, talk to us about this whole consciousness thing, more awareness. What's the universe about? These are just the eternal questions forever now for mankind. But is love the fabric of the universe?
I think love's a big fabric of the universe. Here's the thing. All you have to do, we've been teaching this for 27 years. All you have to do is close your eyes with your back straight and your eyes closed. And you just listen. And you can answer every question you've ever had, ever. Because once you shut this rational thing down, this neocortex, which is the youngest part of the body, the youngest part of the brain, right? We have 3 sections of the brain. Neocortex, new, the webbing. Midbrain, limbic. Reptilian's what, about 150 million years old? Right? So once we shut this new part out that wants to build things and do things and cogitate and be rational, once we shut that out, suddenly our heart, which sends 5,000 more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart, this heart has intelligence, 40,000 brain neurons in the heart. And none of us are paying attention to the heart. So now they're saying Alzheimer's and kind of memory loss is because our heart is frying our brain because our brain's working and not paying attention to these biomagnetic signals. So intuition and consciousness aren't here. It's here. So once you wake this up, it starts sending these signals. Your mind is slowed down. Your pineal gland, which has crystals in it, starts to wake up. And suddenly, my grandfather, who'd been dead for 7 years, was coming back to me in my dreams. He was teaching me yoga. Like, how do you explain that? You don't with a rational mind. But when you close your eyes and you get out of the 3D plane and you relax, every night you die. You go to the 4D and 5D every single night, whether any rational person out there believes it or not. Our dream world is more 4D. It's alpha. And now we're tapped into everything. That's consciousness. Consciousness is just being aware that there's all these different layers, that I have my day job, my life, my spreadsheets, my lists, all important on the 3D plane. In the 4D plane and the 5D plane, in the dream world, that's not that important. It's important here. It's important what I learn and what I bring to that. And then what do I bring to my dream world? What does my dream world bring to me? That's awareness. Just being aware that that tree and I aren't that different. We're both reaching for light. We're both conscious. It has a maybe slower consciousness. The squirrel probably maybe has a little different awareness. But when I slow down and tune in, I realize we're all just part of this fabric. We're all part of this web. And our rational mind doesn't want to be part of the fabric. It's not designed to do that. And that's not a bad thing. That's how we're able to build skyscrapers. It's how you were able to put your bookshelf up, right? You couldn't do that in this nebulous, 4D meditative state. You actually have to physically do it. We need your rational brain, but your rational brain gets in the way of everything else. It gets in the way of awareness until it teams up with your heart. You open up, and now your heart's going, hey, do you remember 4th grade? Do you remember you used to love to dance and sing? Hey, if you do more of that, you're going to be aware of everything, and you're going to open up to the truths. What truths? Doesn't matter. You just open up. That's awareness. That's consciousness.
I was going to show your book cover, so we're going to come back to that in a second. And I will actually right now. You said waking up earlier, and I'm just going to let you if you could plug your book, Waking Up Marriage, and here it is.
Well, funny enough,
fine print.
Yeah, what I just described. So Waking Up Marriage wasn't even the name I intended. The name of the book was supposed to be The Space in Between, because the whole ethos, how human beings are built, from 0 to 10, you absorbed your mom's world and your dad's world. Like biophysically, your skin's thinner when you're younger. And right now you're radiating energy, right? You know that. So there you are, the first 10 years of your life with no rational brain, with no rational cogitating, no logic. The logic brain part doesn't start forming till 11, 12, 13. So we soak in our parents' worlds. Then we get to our 20s and our late 20s, we get married. And then our brain starts to millenniate at 28, 29, 30. It's called the Saturn return. It's called millenniation. So suddenly this old stuff from 9 years old starts coming up. Here you are married for 2 years, and you're like, I don't understand myself. How do you understand the person in front of you? How could you possibly be in a meaningful relationship with anybody until you meaningfully know who the heck you are? That's why 60% of marriages fail. If you get married at the age of 25 and younger, 60% chance of it failing. Get married at 30 and older, your chances get better. So the point of the book wasn't really marriage. Like you and I are married. We have a friendship. That's just a word. That's just a construct. Marriage means every relationship that I'm in has really nothing to do with the other person. That other person is kicking up stuff in me. And so I'm learning from every interaction I have. And marriage is the best arena to learn who I am, who you are, who anyone else is, because you're being forced to listen to your own stuff. Your stuff is being forced up onto the altar of marriage. So waking up marriage is really waking up Bill, waking up John, waking up Michael, waking up how? Meditation and therapy and yoga and some medicine if you need to do medicine. But the only way to wake up is in silence. It's the only way. And in fact, I had a buddy who did 6,000 edits on the first edition back in September of 2020. he did 6,000 edits on the book, and he emails me. He's like, "Hey, Bill, I just have to say, this is a love story to meditation. That's all it is." And so the book is about slowing down, getting your back straight, shoulders square. It's got examples of so many of my clients, myself, the changes, the uptick in awareness, the openness, the health benefits of sitting quietly, and waking yourself up so you can be present in your marriage. It's the hardest thing to do. Marriage, I think, is the hardest thing to do on the planet. It's much easier to like write a thesis on the biomagnetics of tree interaction than it is to be married. Because marriage is forcing me to be vulnerable, right? If you and I deepen our relationship, I'm going to force you to be vulnerable. I'm going to force you to share. And if you don't want to share, that's totally fine. But no relationship can go anywhere without vulnerability. That's the whole point. And men struggle with vulnerability. Not to say women don't either, but men struggle the most. So anyway, it's a diatribe dissertation on finding out who I am, waking up marriage, finding truth in your partnership. Yeah. It's really
I'm going
finding
to
truth.
knock you off the spiritual balance beam or the philosopher's balance beam right now as a speaker. And here it goes. I've got 3 different quotes for you or statements. The first one's from Gary Zukav from Seed of the Soul.
Love them.
You
Great
change,
book.
you change the way that you shape the light which is flowing through you by changing your consciousness. The second quote is from a group of angels just saying, hey, you can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever. And the third is going to shake you to your core. You really do sound like George Clooney. And now, what's your reaction to the first 2 quotes? And did you get knocked off the balance beam?
I love that shaping light by your consciousness.
By changing, yep, you change
Yep.
the way that you shape the light which is flowing through you by changing your consciousness. And then here's the ultimate, because you want to say, but my problem is, my situation is, my drama is, you don't understand. When you hear,
Yes.
you can be happy now in this very moment, unconditionally for no reason whatsoever. Good luck with that. Welcome to being human.
That is where we're at right now. That's the hardest thing and the best thing and the only thing we need to be doing, every human being. And it's funny you say that because that's really my goal, is because we just keep telling our stories over and over again, right? Whether it's my brother or your brother or his uncle or his Pete, like, oh, the same old story, right? And the politics is just another story, right? It's another guy in front of a microphone saying bad things, just a story. But what happens, as I was telling my buddy, what happens if if you think of a river, you got the dark kind of heavier water with all the sticks and twigs down here, where some of the sticks are staying floating. But then if you get further up the top of the river, it's clear. That first inch of water is like super clear. How do we stay on that part of the river all day? How do I just stay in this place of possibility and resonance and kind of lightness and like it's all good? Oh, another bomb in Palestine. It's okay. Send them light. Send them light. The reason why it's a struggle, but that's where we're all going, that's where we need to go, is because the story is so easy to retell, and our emotions are magnetic and our thoughts are electrical. Our emotions are magnetic and our thoughts are electrical. So we stay, it's really kind of easy to stay in that current of, I'm not good enough. Oh my gosh, that race or that gender. It's like, it's just that story, right? How do we get it? We have to open up our heart and flood our rational mind with our sense of wholeness and harmony. You can't be happy unless you feel happy. And there hasn't been an action in human history. There's never been an action in human history that wasn't driven by an emotion. That's why the entire construct of being human is understanding our emotions. Why can't I be happy? I don't have enough money. Yeah, those are all real good reasons to be not happy in this moment. But that's still a fantasy. That's just a thought. So if I can flood my thoughts with, right now, I'm feeling balanced, I'm feeling in my world, I'm feeling in my body, I'll go for a run later, I'll meditate later, it's pretty good, right? I could cogitate and I could list down all the things I got to work on, all the things I got to do, and all the things I'm not doing, all the things I'm not good enough at, right? Or I could stay right here. And the thing is, and I just think of my family, friends, and stuff, like, it's hard for people to stay right here because they're so distracted. Because it's like mind candy. Oh, another Instagram quote. Oh, wow. Oh, another bomb. Oh my God. Yeah, bombs suck. People are dying. If I can add value, I'm going to. If I can't, I'm going to send light. Send light to Putin. I have these meditative states where I go to where I imagine Trump and Putin, all these white dudes holding hands, sharing their inner child work, laughing and crying and hugging each other. Imagine that. I'd be happy. So I'll just do that. It's like we have to delude ourselves almost. We have to get into a delusional fugue state almost of immersing ourselves in joy. Immersing myself in joy. That's my mantra to, you know, friends or family or clients. I'm like, listen, I get it. Your kid's struggling. We're going to help. But when we wrap up this call, this Zoom call for clients, let's close our eyes and imagine yourself doused with just bombarded with white light, white light, white light, white light. And you know what? So many people are uncomfortable being happy because they don't trust it. They don't think it can last. They don't think they deserve it. So that's what you and I do, Michael. We're trying to help people. We're trying to hold space so they can get 15 seconds of harmony. And then tomorrow maybe get 17 seconds. And maybe tomorrow I'll spend like an hour in just a harmonic, balanced, okay state.
The scariest place in the world is to go here. We see it in different classic New Age. Seth from the 1970s, Jane Roberts' Seth talks
Got
about
all the books.
yeah, it's only going to be found here, not external. And then you're going to have to go through the world that you knew, which is looking in the mirror and shed whatever it is that you were just talking about, and into a broader reality, the broader consciousness. But nobody wants to hit the heart button. Also, Peaceful Warrior, the gymnastics movie, Nick Nolte's in it. He says
So
the
good.
same
Thanks to
thing.
you. Thanks to you. I saw it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
He says the same thing, and in that darn movie, every time I watch it, it's something new. It's that's how slow I am, or it's kind of an interdimensional movie because I'm like, how did I miss this the first 48 times that I saw it? Same thing with the book. The book's really good and deeper and has more detail. Lastly, there's a third expert out there who talks about the same thing about, you know, hitting that heart button. I can't remember who it is. So with that, Big Mary in the Sky, I had to Wikipedia her at the beginning of all this 13 years ago. She said, love is everywhere. I'm going to ad lib. Love is everywhere. Open your eyes to see love. And I know it's the same for joy, which is almost a better term to use because it's more active. And so what's this whole thing about if joy is a constant, how are we, like you described being distracted and everything else we're checking out. If it's a constant flow. Talk to us about that. All we have to do is blah, blah, blah. Is it breathe, smile, relax, all the above, live in the heart a little bit more?
Yeah, live in the heart a little bit more, without a doubt. Here's the I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but this is the work that um I believe is the most important work to get to that place of a flow. Is it's inner child work. And inner child work has got all these kind of barbs around it or thoughts around, like, oh, inner child, you know, the miserable childhood. But what it is your heart is in fourth grade. Your heart never left fourth grade or third grade or second grade. Your heart. If like the work we do, period, is we relax and we go back to you in fourth grade, your fourth grade self, because your fourth grade self and your third grade self know everything. They know every mystery. They're only a couple of years out of mom's womb. They're totally tapped in. They already know what they want to do, big picture. Like all I could sing was I want to teach the world to sing in third grade, second grade. I want to teach the world to sing, and right.
Coca-Cola.
So that sensibility is living inside this 59 3/4 body, and that he and your fourth grade self. So the work is to go back. I mean, every Uber driver, this is all I do is I riff all day. If I get in an Uber, how old are you? Where are you from? Like, and suddenly I'm just saying, listen, you got to close your eyes, not while you're driving, and go back to that fourth grade self. Oh, Mr. Uber driver, if your fourth grade self was sitting in that seat next to you, what would you say to him? And they're always like, wow, I'd encourage him. I'm like, you're just talking to your heart. Your heart's just talking to you. So kind of wrong wording, but cleaning up our childhood. In other words, going back, my 59-year-old self, going back to my school in Franklin School, and hanging out with my third grade self and fourth grade self. And I've done it 80 times, 100 times, 150 times, spending time with him, and he and I bonding, and I bring him with me and he brings me into his classroom. It literally changes the physiology. And so when you're at peace, even with the despairingly crappy childhoods a lot of us had, or, you know, bits and bobs that really sucked, if we're healthy and we're in our 50s or 60s or 40s, we're healthy, that's a story. And we need to go back to the story, let it be told, feel it. Now we're safe. There's nobody chasing us, nobody coming after me. Now we're safe. Now the fourth grade self is with me right here. I'm like holding hands. Let's meditate. Let's laugh. Let's cry. We're gonna go for a run. When I go for a run, it's not the 59 and 3/4-year-old. It's the 14-year-old that just wanted to run from something to something. I don't know, but it's not my 59-year-old body would not vote to go for an hour-long run in a couple hours. He would vote to hang out and check the BBC and all that kind of bullshit. Excuse my French. So it's really, I feel like cleaning up, you have to clean up the energy, because if you don't clean it up, the electrons in the limbic system are still kind of firing with less than this, dad's grumpiness, grandmother's grumpiness, all that stuff. Hard to be happy. Clean, like soften that up. Then it's like, it's a quick lock in, right? It's like jumping in the pool. Full
So
moon tonight too.
when are we going to see the YouTube channel from you with the 20 steps? The limbic bond, the parents thing is dealt with, how we do the lightening up, the quickening, Stuart Wilde or whoever that was. The point is, part of you knows there's more to come. Like if you, let's say the day job was, whoop, you know, this is 10 years from now, and then you were having to commit full on to the rest of it all, what might that look like?
Teaching. Just teaching. In fact, I have in my calendar, all I'm doing is looking for, I just, like you said, you know, 11th graders, 12th graders, really I will be teaching in younger kids full time at some point. Um, there's two cohorts that really fire me up. I love, it's that 11th grade to kind of junior year of college, really any level of college. And then it's the 27 and a half, 28-year-olds to the early 40-year-olds or late 30-year-olds. Why? Because when you turn 28 and a half, like I said, when your brain starts millenniating, it's the first major crisis or the second major crisis of human development is when we turn 20, 28, 29, 30, when our brain starts to millenniate. I've got all these 29-year-olds and 30-year-olds, you know, contacting me for counseling because they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Who am I? Well, that's because all this old emotional debris is washing up on the shore. And they're like, my life's got no meaning. I've been doing this for 6 years. Why am I asking these questions now? So that's a great population to work with. And then just the younger kids, man, I have so much great hope. They're built differently than you and I. They're built differently than us 50-year-olds. They understand yoga. They all know astrology. I went to my daughter's college, hung out with her college friends a couple of years ago, and they all had their natal charts. They're 19 and 20-year-olds, and we're doing readings on their natal chart. Did you not could even spell natal growing up, going to Middlebury? Like none of that stuff. My point is this next generation, they're going to be levitating. Their kids are going to be levitating in 20, 30 years. Like it's going to be a completely different, they're going to look back on 2024 and 2020 as like cavemen, like black and white, like we're looking back in the 1920s. That's how much things are moving. That's how fast Mother Earth is spinning around right now. So I don't know. I just love to share because when I'm sharing, I'm learning, right? I'm learning from you. I'm learning from, you know, everybody that I interact with. And
Public.
for me, it's
Go ahead. No,
go ahead. I was going to say, for me I need to shut up more and listen more. Can I read one quote? It's my top 5 quote of all time.
This is your show. Absolutely.
The first step in the acquisition of wisdom is silence. The second, listening. The third, memory. The fourth, practice. The fifth, teaching others. Solomon Ibn Gabriel. That's from like 500 years ago. Silence to teaching. And I'm somewhere along that thread.
To the audience, what have you enjoyed most about Bill so far? Even I love Bill. or just two emojis. What emojis are you going to choose? But comment, put something down, hit that thumb up thing called liking, subscribe, share, and so on. We've had 480,000 views on this channel since it was started in January of
Wow.
2023. We've got 220 shows booked into May 14th of 2025. Right now, we're in the summer of 2024. We are going fee-based for guests in the spring of 2025. This way, you know, man has to eat, but also power cords fray and a lot of other costs. Every show takes 3 to 7 hours from the start of the interaction with the guest to the finish, to package it up and so on. So we appreciate guests' understanding in advance. Also, if you're a publicist out there or a staffer working for your boss, you're pitching your boss at $75. So we have 220 shows, most of which, minus 10, 210 will be done by around mid-September of 2024. It's pretty incredible. There's about 65 shows to record in the next 5 weeks. Bill, you're a super special guest. Let's get back to something here. If you had to hold a retreat, you've gone and put the H in front of Ealer, and now you're a full-fledged healer and you're teaching 11th graders to, you know, junior freshmen in college. Where would you hold a retreat around the globe? I'll give you like 5 or 6 choices: Egypt, India, Nepal, Kauai, Outback Australia, all the above. But which are the top 3 places? You know, Machu Picchu, name something else. Top 3.
Australia.
Yep.
Kauai. And New Mexico.
Sort of a Native American theme for New Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah. Australia, the energy is lights out big.
Did you go to the Outback?
I drove to the Outback, into the Outback, not knowing where I was going. And we got to one like last little town. And the dude's like, dude, you won't find another town for 60 miles into the Outback. My buddy and I looked at each other. We're like, let's go for it. And we did. We said we were probably 180 miles into the Outback. And then we just stopped and we rented a little hotel, which was just an RV. Motel. Anyway, it was amazing. Absolutely stagnant. Oldest rainforest in the world is north of Port Douglas. Yeah, incredible. It's absolutely incredible, Australia.
So everybody's sensitive, everybody's intuitive. Call it what you will, your intuition, whether it's athletic, business. You're just really good at cooking in the household and everyone's always loving your food. But when you're in the zone, making that salad, frying that steak, cooking the steak, whatever, the point is you're at the grill and you're just doing your magic. Or you're an artist, a musician, you're touching that heart, you're touching the greater flow. One last pep talk about how it's that simple.
Well, there's so much light hitting the earth right now. If you Bill Belichick likes to say, you got to put yourself in a place where you can have more light enter your body. So the best thing to do is go out and go for a 30-minute walk. Do something where you're making your body create endorphins and adrenaline to get through that 20-minute walk, 30-minute walk. So the best thing to do is 5 days a week, between 30 and 40 minutes of enough of the exercise that's rigorous enough where you'd be struggling to have a conversation. So just walk quickly down to the supermarket and back. Don't take the car. And then when you come back, sit quietly for 10 minutes or more so your rational brain slows down. And now what you've done is your body automatically, unconsciously, is now absorbing more light because it needs more light. It needs more light. You've slowed it down. You come out of that state, grab your cup of coffee, whatever you need to do, and just allow yourself to call in more light. Hey, I want more light. The tree that's growing the best is getting the most light. We're the same way. And it's that simple. You can watch your news, you got to do your job, you got to interact with, people that drive you crazy, all that stuff, but keep imagining yourself flooded with light all day. Fool yourself, trick yourself, delude yourself. Be in the light. And it sounds so bloody corny and esoteric, but first of all, if you're not exercising, you got to exercise. Even if you're crawling, even if you're just stretching, doesn't matter. You need to be breathing. You need to force your heart into some kind of friction. Have to, period. Number one, that's the physical. Number two, then you add to the physical allowing the heart to relax. Number 2. And number 3, eating well. And number 4, calling in your younger self. Your 4th grade self is beckoning you, is dying to spend time with you. I guarantee you, your 4th grade self likes you, loves you, might not know you yet. You do all that, even pieces of that, guaranteed an uptick in your sense of self. Guaranteed.
Can you tell us some of the figures from some of the locations you've mentioned around the globe? Like, obviously, in Aboriginal territory, naming any particular clever man, that's probably not going to happen. But I'll do India for you. Sri Shirdi Sai Baba, Sri Kaleshwar, you love them, don't you?
Oh my God.
What
I mean,
other
how many times?
figures? Yeah.
Yogananda. Yogananda's the man. You know, everybody needs to read Autobiography of a Yogi. What was the one book that Steve Jobs had next to his bed his entire life? Autobiography of a Yogi. Steve Jobs dies, has a funeral, 500 people at his funeral. When you left his funeral, you got a wooden box, Michael. What was inside that wooden box? From Steve Jobs' funeral.
Diary
What
of
was inside that
Yogananda.
box? Autobiography of a Yogi. That's how much that book meant to Steve Jobs. Probably the greatest creative talent, bit of an idiot, bit of an asshole, but probably one of the greatest creative geniuses. And he meditated all the time, thanks to that book.
Who else around the globe?
Oh, so I'm a big Native American fan. So Sitting Bull, any of the great shaman warriors. I'm not very good with names. I had a friend say to me, Elite Nui. Elite Nui is some Hawaiian goddess. I've never heard of her before. Yeah, all I can really think of is the Native American folks. I'll tell you who was a great human being was George Washington. I just saw a documentary. I'm reading a book on Thomas Jefferson as well. And Abraham Lincoln's the greatest, I think the greatest human being that ever lived. Abraham Lincoln. Aquarian, one of the greatest, if not the greatest human being to have lived. That man.
Have you had a dream time experience with any of these figures?
With Sitting Bull. That's it. But Abraham, I've got an actual print from the late 1800s of Abraham Lincoln right there. Team of Rivals, greatest. Every American needs to read that book, Team of Rivals. He was the great bringer together of enemies. Greatest man to have lived. And nobody mourned and suffered more than that man. That brought him great wisdom.
We've reached the part of the show that is the staple.
You're like, thank God.
This is about to become hot ones, though. If anyone's watched that, buffalo wings saturated with a low level of spice and heat, all the way up to you're crying, calling 911, you need a glass of milk, Shaq, everyone's been on that show. But this is the spiritual version. So this is really like chicken wings with nothing on it. You're going to get a chance to smell sage at home through 2 screens. Time and space isn't quite what you think it is. It's not about thinking. It's a little less thinking. Be down here. I'm going to light some sage. Give yourself permission to catch it. We've done this before, so I know it works for poor Bill here. But why settle for just ho-hum linear? Not that sage isn't great plant medicine or universal love, whatever you want to call the vibe. Why not get a triple-tiered tiramisu layered cake here, or dessert, or whatever you call it? Why not get sage, but ask for flowers? And if you're really groovy with all this, ask for ocean as well. As long as you don't live like in front of Baja, ask for then instead Seychelles, Bethany Beach, Rehoboth, Nantucket, Kauai. What are you going to allow for is really the rub that I think Bill's been talking about the whole day, during your day, during this show. Okay, Bill, let yourself go. Your heart knows what it's doing. It's already connected to the sage. If anybody needs help, breathe through the mouth. That's like turning up the volume. Let go, let go, let go. Did I mention let go? And Bill, what are you getting? You getting a little sage?
Yeah, for sure.
You're very sage. Now, are you getting any flowers? Close your eyes if anybody needs extra help. But remember to heave-ho with the shoulders like a really mean yoga instructor. Breathe. And flowers and then ocean on top. Why not get a little quiet? I'm going to blow through the microphone, ask angels of the universe to bring it to you. Catch a little sea spritz on your nose. And I'll do Yoda's voice to distract everybody out there. Do not. There is no try. And Archangel Gabriel says, always try. So it's not about words. They're both correct. Not about being right or wrong. It's proper perspective called what Bill said the whole time in the show, being in your heart. The limbic body, let go of the parents, endorse and embrace the third grader, fourth grader within. Okay, you got sage. Did you get flowers?
I got rose. Yeah.
Dude, you're Axl Rose. Now, did you get anything on top of that, like a ocean, anything? I'll blow one more time. Ask angels to hold your space. Here it goes. Jersey Shore, Kauai.
Yeah. No, I got California.
Yay. Okay, now with your permission, I'm going to put up some figures, but you're going to be very surprised over who is coming in because this is almost like that 60s black and white show, This Is Your Life. I don't know if it was black and white. I never watched it, but I know it's a famous one. And it is going to be a little game show like because I've been writing notes down this whole time and I think you're going to have fun with this. Okay, Joy, get an answer, get a hug. If you want to put your hand out just to inspire others to do so, feel what you can feel. Don't judge. Fingers or your palm or both. Try too hard, you could get sparkles on the toe or whoosh down the back. Breathe extra, heave ho like you're at the doctor's office for the once-a-year physical. And what are you feeling? What are you getting from Joy? She's got a reminder for us all. And Bill, you're a super talent. I'm just going to compliment you right now. I've seen you in action. So what'd you get?
Just openness. Just, I mean, literally sounds so corny, but like a big smile up my spine.
Yay, you're wearing her color. So hey, it's and Chogyam Trungpa will tell you openness is the way. Let's do Mandalorian. Okay, here's Charlotte, everybody's favorite school teacher from third form if you're in New Zealand or Canada, third grade. Not Mrs. Johansson who got you in trouble, but Mrs. Wilson who was super cool and sweet. What are you getting from Charlotte? She's been around the block. She might have been Nefertiti in ancient Egypt. What are you getting from her? And if you won in ancient Egypt, you never mentioned Egypt, by the way. Is that on the list as well?
For sure.
To catch a ancient incense that there's no way you could get it today if you were in Egypt or off Amazon. That's so foundational, so deep, so incredible. It's like watching a Disney movie for the first time and you're 10 or 5. What are you getting?
Just this kind of a knowingness, like I like those Native Americans when they're kind of just looking and they're just knowing, kind of grounded. And that smell that I got a really earthen scent and sensibility from Egypt, like that moist in the evening when you water something and the ground is kind of percolating in an aroma.
I'll give you a quote before we go to the next angel and 3 Native American chiefs, then Steve Jobs, Plato, and some others. In American society, we think something is happening when there's talking. In Native American tribes, something is happening when there is silence.
So good. So good.
Now, Min, don't call her, well, call her Min if you want. It's a Lakota Sioux word for water. Awala is a Polynesian morning glory, sweet potatoes in the ground, a vine with actual morning glory flowers up top. But Ua and La in Hawaiian is rain and sun. So it's water rainbow, water morning glory, call her what you want. Minwala, Min. If you want to have Kauai come into the room, what you remember from the trip, I'll blow through the air as well, but it's angels, blame angels. Catch a little extra from the memory of those days. She, one guest who's got 11 books out said that's Mother Hawaii, and she definitely has Hawaiian spirituality in her. So let her bring you some of what you talked about. And what's her reminder for us all?
What came to me was the waterfall, the big waterfall that was used in Jurassic Park is in Kauai, and I can feel that kind of like that incessant surging water mist is just being part of that.
Okay, and now Spotlight just got turned on the game show stage here. 2 compliments for you or 3. Let me know when you get all 3, and then which one are you allowed to share out loud? This is your life.
Just an applause, just kind of a little applause, a little small studio applause for just being present. And
nice. I've got a Native American chief for you, Dull Knife. He's wisdom with some humor. You know who he is. Folks at home, you can put your hand out and feel the vibe if you don't mind doing that as well, Bill, just so people feel
Sure.
good about it. They
Sure.
can get one of 40 sacred scents in the air: tobacco, sweetgrass, juniper, sage, desert pineal, pine, cedar. You get the idea. And what are you catching in the air? And you can hear
Fine.
sounds as well, pine. You can hear
Fine.
sounds as well, the rattle, tambourine stuff, whatever it's called.
It's all flute for me. I hear that flute and I literally, my body softens and my eyes water up if that flute comes on. So sweet.
And he said once, life is a feast, partake. I love that. What's he giving you?
He just kind of chuckles, you know, he knows it's all coming back. Homo sapien, we're all coming back to what they've been, the ethos, the native sense of oneness is all coming back. And they're super happy. And it's not like they're gone, they're here. They're just inside the electrons of people like you and everyone that's kind of reaching for light and understands the oneness of it all. That's living. He's living right here, right now. You know?
We're remembering.
Yep, exactly.
Red shirt, Lakota
Sure.
Sioux, chief, compassion, 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 super gentle, like the
Yeah.
gentlest mom in the world.
He's like a comedian. He's like stand up. He just really gets it and understands the wonderful silliness of being human.
Last but not least, Geronimo. It'll be an older Geronimo. If people at home want to put a seatbelt on, roller coaster seatbelt or Formula One, you're going to feel this photo. He's action, 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 dry wit, not formal, proper like the first two, yes, no. Slang, just do it. If you remember the 1930s movies, the Bowery Boys, it could be that slang. I'll pour a little coffee in a demi-tasse and I'll hear fill her up, bub. I think that's 1950s language. We do not say that today, but I laugh
Yeah.
every time. Here he is. What has he got for you?
I mean, he was relentless. That nobody fought harder for a cause. It's beautiful. Just he looks right through you.
And what's he got for you? Breathe,
Just
sit
keep
up
going.
straight. Yep.
Just keep going. Yeah, it's beautiful. That's a beautiful picture. I think I've seen that one. Yeah, it's a great one. Thank you. It's a really good one.
Steve Jobs is coming next.
Stevie boy.
But if you want, here's Sri Kaleshwar, Love on an Indian Breeze.
Oh, wow.
Catch a great reminder from him. He is just absolutely beautiful. He hangs tight with angels like Sri Shirdi Sai Baba. He only was, I think, 42 when he passed,
Yes.
2012 or so.
40, yeah, 41, 42. Yeah. My buddy met him a couple times in
What,
Austin.
what are you getting from him?
Just a ton of light, easiness of light. Like it's not shouldn't be too much work.
Okay.
It kind of brings that youthful spirituality. Like he's hip. Like he'd be on Instagram.
And now, Steve Jobs,
Stevie boy.
unconditional love figure, spirit guide, here to help. What's he got for advice for us all for tapping the heart more?
Yeah, he's big on it's not the money, it's the creating. And that sounds so bad, but he really was a relentless creator. It's beautiful.
You ready for three more?
Sure.
Okay. Here's a colorized version of Sri Shirdi Sai Baba from the early 1900s. Legitimate Mr. Miracle straddled three religions: Buddhism, Islam, and Hinduism. Okay. Here he is. People can see him move, wink, smile, shoulder waggle in the photo. We know photos can't move, but we also know there are no limits in life. So which way do you want to roll? Your heart or your brain? What are you getting from Sai Baba? And if you want to catch Indian temple incense in the air, do it.
Yeah, I get him moving around like flitting, like a teaching to pay attention.
And if we can go cliche, because sometimes cliche is the way to go. If you don't mind going kumbaya or any version of kumbaya, close your eyes. I don't have a photo for this one. So we'll have a clever man or a healing medicine man from Aboriginal spaces in Australia. His name is Job, Job, I believe. Have him come in, breathe through your mouth. Anybody at home wants to do this, see light on your eyes, hear some sort of a chant or something. I don't know how to explain it. And it might be one of those long stick things hollowed out that makes the noise to intro him. But my point is, you know what you're going to get. He knows what you're going to get. You don't need me telling you anything. Allow, allow, allow. And I'll say something funny to distract the brain. So this is faster than a rat up a gum tree. And I won't try to do the Aussie accent. And allow, allow, allow. But hear that wow, wow, wow in the background. And only a handful of folks have gotten to meet him. So hopefully this is super special. You can see the outback and even, I forgot what it was called, the mound of like a mini mountain. Kind of looks like the Devil's Mountain, but flatter down in the southwest of the US. You can see.
Aaron
Yeah,
Rock or
something
something.
like that. He'll show it to you. He'll show you the stars, more importantly, if you want to look up. Breathe extra and have something special happen. People at home, I forgot the only rule I've got is just ask angels to get you out of your head into your heart and add anything you want, like make it nice, make it fun. Hey, like sock it to me. Throw in an owning it at the end, like a thank you, amen, rock and roll, or Om Sai Ram if you're from India. It's called setting your intent for a reason. Do it before you get on the tennis court, the pickleball court, before you go on a run. Look, we forget all the time, all the time. So if you remember twice in a month, you're actually ahead of the crowd. This is about 7% less thinking a day, or flip that pancake, 7% more heart a day. And I pulled out the calculator 6 times, but like I was saying before, I forgot. It's somewhere between an hour and a half and 2.5 hours a day that you just do a little more yoga, hug the dog, one of those million exercises that gets you to your heart versus the 10 to 40 million reasons why you can't up in the brain. Meanwhile, Bill has been bought plenty of time on the show and he's coming back. What'd you get from Job? Do we need the glass of milk? No.
I just got this sense of wings, like flying over the rock, and yeah, more lightness, even more lightness.
Nice. And one or two final, one last figure. Got to
Okay.
figure out who it is. It'll be Kapuna Auntie Margaret out of Hawaii. She's love on a Hawaiian breeze, and she's a sweetie, super easy to connect with. And here she is. Hear what you can hear, allow for what you can allow for. If you want to put a hand up, you can see it glow at your ends. Just let her activate your hands even further than they already are. If you want your body instead to be just jacked a little bit with light, people can ask angels to jump in and help out. It's whatever you allow for. She's a sweetie though, so definitely connect with her. Kapuna Auntie Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
Are you feeling it?
Mm-hmm.
And what'd you get for all of us?
It's a huge high-fiving hug from this grandmotherly energy. Like grandmothers just don't care. Like they're like, what do I care about? I'm just here to help people out, not fuss about. No fussing about.
Okay, so we're wrapping it up in a little bit, but what's one of the first thing in the mornings or the end of the day or somewhere in the middle of the day if you do a crazy Ivan to quote Hunt for Red October, you just do a sudden 180 for no reason if you're a submarine in the water to check if anybody's been following in the baffles. What do you unexpectedly try to do during the day or before you go to bed or when you first wake up? Do you have some sort of a semi-ritual practice? What is it?
Yep. I tell people before your feet hit the ground, right? So you've woken up, but you're not on the ground yet. Your phone's right next to you. Before you touch your phone, you can touch your phone, then come back before your feet hit the ground, spend 1, 2, 3, or 4 minutes with your eyes closed, imagining the sun outside has come into your room and is literally just soaking you in light. Just imagine it. Just pretend. Just lie to yourself. You gotta actually see every cell in your body filled with light. It's like a bunch of these beach balls at the beach, and they're getting hit with a light, right? And they're kind of that's the main thing to do. And then as often as you can during your day, as you're sitting there, just close your eyes and check in how you're feeling. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling dull. I'm feeling super bored. I'm feeling sad that I'm not at the perfect job. I'm feeling bummed that, I'm not sure how I'm going to pay the rent. Just check in. Just check in how you're feeling. Don't try to change the feeling. Just be aware of it. Don't try to change it. And just acknowledge it. Get up, get some activity, come back to your chair. When in doubt, go be active. Don't grab your phone, be active. Go for a walk. If you're at work, if you're in the city, you're around the, like, just go for a 10-minute walk, then come back. How do I feel? You'll feel a centimeter better, a centimeter lighter. And then you can start, don't launch like, what do I want to do when you're feeling like this? You don't launch the visions of what I want until you're in a state of lightness or lighterness. So if you're like, oh, life sucks, I need to make more money, I'm going to go find a job. That's not the energetic frequency with which the fabric, the matrix, the world around you, they're going to hear, I'm less than, I got less. Be full and then do it. When in doubt, go get exercise and go breathe. Go breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe. That's mine.
So you have three more special guests for you. Sitting Bull. And let it be deep. And if you want to see a little bit of glitter or the confetti in the air, as if we just sent an email or text to each other and sort of hit that extra button to have extra confetti come down, let Sitting Bull connect with you, but see extra energy in the room around you, just celebrating reconnecting.
Yeah. Feel that.
Okay. And then Plato. I forgot. Plato, you can see the old man's face in the photo if you look closely, eyes, nose, mustache. Just I'll do this for people if you need help. There it is. No hugs for him. They're sweaty. A fist pump tap on the shoulder. That's great, but he's great for life insights. What's one life insight you can share out loud that was given to you?
Things are a lot simpler than we make them out to be.
Brilliant. Last one. This is going to be a favorite for you. A little bit of a book cover with it, but if I can crop most of it out. What's a mantra from him to you that you're allowed to share with the world? It's the opposite of most of those mantras. If we were in India, they tell you not to tell anybody. Although there's the one guy they say in that story, he ran to the mountaintop or the hill and told his whole community, thought he would be in trouble, but the guy was like, no, I'll give you another one. You're good. What's the mantra you're hearing from Yogananda?
It's all good. It all, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it.
We're back to looking forward again before you give us the closeout speech. What book would you be writing if you had the time, inclination, and you were putting the shingle out as a full-fledged healer on the whole woo-woo-woo, spiritual, energetic, intuitiveness front? What type of book do you think you would want to do? How would you describe it without giving away what the book actually is?
Yeah, there's a couple. One is about turning 50 and the wonderful wildness of leaving mid-adulthood behind, early adulthood behind. You don't really start becoming adult till you get to your 50s. And the second one is celebrating tears and celebrating sadness. That sadness and mourning are the great processing emotions of humankind, and so much of what we witness these days is unprocessed, not good or bad, just sadness. Sadness is anger. Anger and sadness are the same coin, right? So if somebody's being angry, it means they're feeling less than inside. They want the rest of the world to feel less than inside. So how do they do it? They express that through anger. They don't express it through sadness, through vulnerability, but really it's about vulnerability. So the first book would be about turning 50, being in your 50s. I'll even say late 40s, and the magic that's there. And then really an expose on understanding tears, the beauty of tears, the rain. You ever asked a plant if they disliked rain? No. Tears are the most important thing a human being can express.
I cry in commercials, Disney movies, you name it. I'm a leaky pipe.
Totally.
Get teased
Totally.
in
That's
this
why you're tapped
household.
in. That's why
Yeah.
you're tapped in, tuned in, turned on.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't watch the same stuff that I could watch on TV 30 years ago. And I'm going to mention as a
Totally.
quick aside, I asked one person, there's 220 shows, 70 of them. By the time anybody sees this, all 220 will be taped. So one out of those 220 guests, I asked, and it wasn't being totally serious when they responded. I was like, what can we do? And they said a city, SIDDHI. And obviously the answer was levitation. And so we quickly pivoted to just a dime moving. It took a year and a half, but they kept asking angels. And I had to keep coming in from a different direction because I'll just make the final point of the show at this end, which is the brain wants to block everything, have it locked down. It's all about a clipboard, a pen, your Julie McCoy up top from Love Boat, if anybody remembers the 80s. And there's no wiggle room. There's no fun. There's no allowing. There's none of the kid. I'm going to climb that tree branch or be president of the United States or an astronaut or whatever. You had no limits as a kid. Somewhere along the way with adulting, it all got constricted. But I'll tell you that dime moved multiple times, and I have a lot of hope for the younger generations. They're going to blow right through something called science. They're going to blow right through the industry called spirituality. They're going to experience no limits at a consciousness energy level, like seeing auras. And with that last act, this is your last hot wings thing. This is easy though. I'm going to put my fingers up and move them around, do it at a Celestine prophecy. But another guest said, no, we were doing that in the 70s. And in India, they do it this way. I can't do it this way standing up, and you're going to get a dad joke, but you get it first while I'm seated. You just say what you see for the light between my fingers. But the point is, if everybody saw each other's light, there would be no more possibility of BSing each other. You could tell when a person was dim versus the light bulb was bright on the person when they were telling the truth, not telling the truth. It would change a lot of real estate deals. You'd know who to invest with and who to not invest with. Okay, here's the dad joke. Bert and Ernie, Sesame Street. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. What's Ernie say? Sure, Bert. And now give yourself a chance to breathe. You're doing seeing without seeing, the Zen thing. You're seeing with your heart. And Bill, what are you seeing between my fingers?
A little orangey red
Yay.
lighty thing.
Brilliant. Okay, you're the one who knows how to close things out. You've got an incredibly eloquent voice and perspective on everything. What are you leaving with us with? But I'll give you a hint. A mantra that fits on a t-shirt. You might need the front of the t-shirt and the back. What would be a final mantra that you would love to leave us with, and also as part of your final parting thoughts?
Today's just a great day. Today's a good day. Tomorrow doesn't exist. Yesterday is back there somewhere, but right now is pretty fucking cool. Right now is pretty cool. So let's just be in today. Let's be in right now. Sorry, I'm not supposed to swear probably on your show.
That's okay. I won't mark it as we've got curse words in the show. We'll see if YouTube catches us later. We'll know.
Yeah.
Hey, that reminds me of the song, but I'm not going to name the title of the song, or Kung Fu Panda a little bit if people like the humor. And with that, Bill O'Haron, you're incredible. I am just pleased to have made your acquaintance, pleased to have met you in person, pleased to have you on the show, and you're wonderful. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you.
Positivity and Love.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael.